Lipscomb tonight from the PMAC in Baton Rouge. Arizona trailing Tennessee as we speak. This list might get more narrow as the night progresses. Arizona, Baylor, and there's LSU ranked number 3 currently in the net rankings. Will Wade has himself another great squad in Baton Rouge, maybe the best. We shall see. And with that, we say hello and welcome. He is the shooter, Pat Bradley. I am Mike Morgan. Pat, good to see you as always. Great to see this LSU team find their way, losing 3 pros from last year's squad, another NCAA tournament team under Coach Wade. And when you look at this squad, we've got some returning names and then some newcomers that have made a profound impact already.
Well, we'll see 3 guys tonight who are in different roles. Darius Days, who was known as the glue man last year. This year, he's averaging 14 points a game, big part of their offense, as well as Xavier Pinson, transfer from Missouri, leads the team 4.5 assists per game, but it's the 7-foot freshman, Efton Reed III, who's made a giant impact, no pun intended. He's averaging just under 10 points a game.
He gives them some rim protection.
Yeah, okay, we can intend it for you there. Okay.
Absolutely. Christmas right around the corner. Puns are welcome. Put that under the tree as well and gift wrap it. So far, the biggest gift for Will Wade's squad, Pat, has been this year they defend. Every team that Will Wade has had in the past scores a lot of points. This year's team is actually playing suffocating defense.
Well, they are. They're number 1 in the SEC in steals, number 1 in defensive rebounds, number 1 in defensive field goal percentage, and number 1 in points allowed at 53 points a game. They've got great length. They've got that mentality, and this team understands what it is that their strength is, right? They know they have to defend, get up in transition.
They have done that extremely well. Again, number 1 in the country in field goal percentage. Defense, they'll be going up against the Lipscomb starting 5 that at times can get hot from outside, and that's certainly going to be the recipe for pulling off an upset if they're able to do it. They're led by Jacob Ognakevich. And meanwhile for LSU, Xavier Pinson, you'll recognize from his days at Mizzou, a big-time transfer for them running the point. Darius Days, a 1,000-point scorer for the LSU Tigers. He is their rock, the senior out of Raleigh, Florida. LSU is in white, Lipscomb in gray, and we are ready to go. Mike Nance, Chuck Jones, Josue Nieves, our officiating crew. LSU trying to make it a perfect 12-0 on the young season as we inch closer and closer to conference play. Pinson out to Days on a triple. Darius Days came in shooting 35% from downtown, and they like him shooting it from deep.
Will Wade told us today, I got a feeling about Darius Days, and he was right. Darius Days started out the first game in this season. 8 threes, 8 made threes in the first half. Shooting it better than he ever has in his career.
Lipscomb misfires on a 3, and here comes LSU. On the drive, little Euro step and the bucket. That's the talented freshman out of Baltimore, Brandon Murray.
And you see LSU right away get into that 3-quarter pressure. They'll do it. They'll run a 2-2-1, a 1-3-1, man-to-man. So a little pressure in the front court, back to that man-to-man defense.
As you've watched this LSU team early on, what stands out to you about the defensive improvement? Well, now that would not be a great time to say that. That was a wide-open 3 for Will Pruitt. But outside of that play, what's it been, Pat?
That's what Lipscomb's going to do. What I was going to say was there was nothing easy. Against this LSU team, they've got great length, anticipation, communication. So to make shots, you've had to make tough 2s against them. Because they are the number 1 3-point defensive team, too, in the SEC.
Yeah, they have been...
Losing a man in the corner right there. That's poor communication.
That was the second time. Will Wade's bunch fortunate that it's a turnover. Will Wade now in his 5th season. 4 NCAA tournament appearances. Of course, when he was at VCU, led that program to a couple of NCAA tournaments. He said this team actually reminds him a bit of the way they played and won games at VCU. They grinded out a little bit more than some of his other teams at LSU. Backdoor cut, and that's an and one. Off balance, legs cut out. Brandon Murray still gets the hoop and the harm.
What's impressed me also is these freshmen, Brandon Murray being one of them. As a freshman, you come in, you got to learn the intensity. That backdoor cut right there, yeah, as a high IQ player, you may do that in high school. But have the presence of mind and comfortable to be able to do that as a freshman at the next level and to get freshmen to play defense, that's part of it.
And when I asked Will Wade about Brandon Murray, he said, well, all you need to know is he's leading us in minutes played per game. That's because I trust him. He's one of the most reliable and dependable freshmen I've ever coached. LSU with an early 5-point lead, 2.5 minutes into the action. Driving layup, blocked by Brandon Murray.
So to add to that, Mike, it's about staying in front of the basketball. As you see Coach right there, fantastic job he's done, losing his best player this year, by the way.
Yeah, he actually is hoping to get that best player, Hassan Asajala, who came in as one of the top players in the A-Sun, suffered a knee injury, meniscus. They hope to have him back in January. If he was in this game, remember they blew out Dayton earlier this year when he was in the lineup? Lipscomb's a dangerous team. They were in the NCAA tournament 3 years ago, made it to the NIT championship game 2 years ago. So while some people are still learning about Lipscomb, there you see Asajala, what they're missing with him. He's a double-double machine. And again, they should have him back for conference play. But this is a program out of Nashville, not too far from where Will Wade grew up, as a matter of fact, that has really had some terrific moments, and now they're hoping to have more with Lenny Acuff, who did a terrific job at the Division II level.
And he has changed a lot of how Lipscomb plays offense because he's such a presence in the paint. You got to respect that, throw double team at him, and you play a lot of inside-out basketball. You see right there, the challenge is LSU is so good at keeping the ball in front of them. And Lipscomb, they don't have anybody to throw it on the post with to create that inside-out three-point shot.
LSU is so long, and they deflect so many passes. There's Pinson on a blow-by. You and I saw him do that many times at Mizzou.
We did, and Will Wade came into the league in the SEC and said, I am going to recruit length on the perimeter. He understood how important it was to be able to defend the three-point shot, to be able to get in passing lanes defensively.
There's a steal by Murray. That's
long perimeter guys.
Third turnover on the Bisons, and that sets up a straight-on three by Efton Reed. It's only his second three of the year, but Will Wade telling us he's got the green light.
He does. He's got a soft touch, and I've told you the PMAC is a great place to shoot. The 7-footer agrees.
On the feed from Pinson, it's a two-hand flush from Awani Wilkinson. 10-point lead. Deep three. No. Flying in for the rebound is Darius Days. And Pinson will direct traffic under 16 minutes to go in the first half. Pinson. Back out. Wide open three. Left short that time by Murray. Three from Lipscomb. Pops out. Don't know if this is the pace that Lipscomb wants with LSU.
No, unless they're making threes, they don't mind this pace, but they're not doing that.
LSU is reining them. That's the second for Days. What did Will Wade tell us? He said, guys, I got a feeling. I'm usually right about this. I got Darius Days on the over-under. Take over 4. He's already hit 2 in the first 5 minutes. LSU with a barrage.
And they're getting in the passing lanes. Mawani, I want it above the rim. Wilkinson for an easy 2.
class so far for Missouri as well. There's a guy that's been recruiting awfully well since he arrived on campus. And a great start to the season, 11-0 for LSU. And you look at what they've done so far in this game, Pat. No lack of energy for this matchup.
No, athletically, Lipscomb is struggling to stay with LSU at every position. They're more athletic. They're shooting the ball well tonight. And more importantly, they're getting out into passing lanes. Mike, this is not a Festivus miracle for Will Wade. He expected this. But his guys are clicking. We talked to him how the game before Christmas, you don't know what you're going to get. Sometimes the guys are thinking about the Christmas ham. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I know you would be back in the day. You see that. You saw
the
that
Feast
graphic.
of the Seven Fishes is what we do, Mike. Feast
There
of
you
the
go.
Seven Fishes.
Something we can all look forward to. LSU fans can look forward to more great defense. 4 turnovers, 10 points off turnovers. And that is something when we talk with Coach Acuff, and look, it's Lipscomb plays a lot of these types of games. They're no stranger to playing Power 5, Power 6 opponents. But he said, guys, this defense is extraordinary because they're so long. They deflect passes on the regular, and they're just tough to get shots up. Our only chance is if we hit a bunch of threes. And you look at what happened recently. Davidson upsets Alabama 12-3. Samford over Ole Miss 13 threes. That's the kind of performance Lipscomb is going to have if they have any chance of upsetting undefeated LSU.
The three-point shot is the great equalizer. There's no doubt a team that is not as athletic, fast, big can stay in it if they can get shots up. However, the difference with LSU is they're #1 defensively in the nation. They're not going to give you easy shots. You have to make tough shots. You got to take tough shots and make tough shots against this defense. Not a lot of teams out there can do it.
A step-back three. A little bit ill-advised, perhaps, for Eric Gaines, who came in shooting a less than torrid 14% from downtown. And that leads to an easy stuff on the other end. The first basket for Ognakovich, who is a guy that is coming off a 35-point performance for the Bisons and really has emerged as a potential star in the ASUN this year. And a rare mistake by Eric Gaines on the turnover. Now you take a look at that defense. They've held every opponent to 65 points or fewer. Most efficient defensive team in the nation, according to our friends at Ken Palm. #1 in opposing field goal percentage, 33%. #2 in the country in steals at 12.6. That's a lot of heavy artillery in the stats, and sometimes those numbers can be a little bit skewed. But I mean, they haven't played the most daunting schedule, but it's been strong enough to know through 11 games. That's a pretty good indicator that their defense should be legit this year. Days feeling it. Back iron that time, and the rebound tracked down by K.J. Johnson.
Well, in Lipscomb, the buckets they have scored have been wide open. Where somebody got lost at three-point line, you had a guy the previous possession get lost underneath the basket for an easy dunk. So it's difficult to score against this LSU length. We know they're athletic, they're long. It's going to be the communication. I think throughout the year, what could be a challenge would be the communication, because when they're one-on-one defensively, they got you.
Now, I know in conversations past with Will Wade, who's very upfront with us behind the scenes, he had a couple of guys the last few years that, quite frankly, were not the most dedicated defenders. That is not an issue this year. There's a blow-by, and then there's a follow-up stuff. Flying in is Parker Hazen.
If I could score like those previous guys he had, I wouldn't be thinking about defense either.
But that's really the difference.
I mean, LSU,
LSU's always had the firepower. They're going to score 80 a night, even against good teams in the SEC. But you got to defend if you're going to make a deep run in the NCAA tournament. And this team appears to be a more willing defensive team. Deep three on the way, and so far Lipscomb just 1 of 5 from behind the arc. Not exactly the recipe for an upset tonight.
And to add to that, Mike, is they got a great combination. You have Eric Gaines, Xavier Pinson. They can defend the ball baseline to baseline. You have Efton Reed, Tari Eason, Darius Days, your 4s and 5s, and then you also have Alex Fudge. We talked about Brandon Murray. Those guys can defend the perimeter. So really good, versatile set of guys.
Ooh. Foul on the perimeter. That's going to go against KJ Johnson. Since you mentioned him, Pat Bradley, and since we have not mentioned him yet in this game, Tari Eason, there's a reason for that. Tari Eason, their leading scorer who comes off the bench but averages over 16 points a game, tweaked something we were told in pregame, so he will not be a go in this game tonight. We didn't hear anything about it being overly serious, but enough to where he will not be in action tonight. So we were going to brag quite a bit about that young man, transfer from Cincinnati, who came in averaging over 16 points, 7.5 rebounds a game. And when you hear Will Wade talk about Tari Eason, he just gushes about how good that young man is.
And apologies to his family and friends. We did have about 3 sheets of stuff that we're going to talk about, Tari.
Sometimes things just don't go to plan as we had hoped. So far, everything going to plan for LSU. They're up big with 12 to play. T-Mobile, the leader in 5G. Baton Rouge General Hospital Christmas lights, beautiful scenics around town. Everybody in a festive mood for the holiday season. The final game for many teams before the Christmas holiday, and LSU.
Yeah, I got to do
their time getting ready with players giving back to the community. This is at a local Walmart, and players from the LSU squad shopping for some of the young boys and girls around the neighborhood, getting them toys and various necessary items for the upcoming holidays. Always great to see, Patrick, when you've got players that realize there are things bigger than basketball. Activities like this give it so much perspective.
Most of the time, if not all the time, the players are appreciative of having the opportunity to go out into the community. A lot of them have young brothers, sisters, cousins, so they can relate to those youngsters in the community. And so, quite frankly, a lot of them weren't, in that position too. And very humble beginnings for a lot of the players.
No question. It's also not a bad chemistry builder as well. I think you find out a lot about the people that you play with, what kind of person they are, when you're able to give back to the community. And so many of the programs that you and I get to cover do just that right around the time of the holiday season. So far, the biggest gift for LSU has been more of that great defense. They have really stymied the Lipscomb offense, which has been held to 27% from the floor. Meanwhile, LSU offensively 54%. And again, doing all this without their leading scorer Tari Eason, the transfer from Cincinnati, out for today's ball game. This is Alex Fudge, unable to connect at the free throw line. Talented freshman out of Jacksonville, Florida.
And you see that half court 1-3-1. That right there has caused more havoc in the SEC since Will Wade has been there, since anything I can think of.
Drive to the basket, and drawing the foul is Parker Hazen.
And that's a good example of, to me, it looked like Brandon Murray had him. You didn't have to reach in. He was in front of him. He was caught. He created a tough, difficult shot. A running left-hander, okay, through the lane. Now you reach in, foul, put him in free throw line, good free throw shooter.
It's the 4th team foul on LSU. Efton Reed picked up those early 2 fouls, so he's been on the bench for a good portion of the early going of the first half. LSU up by 8 with the basketball. One of 6 undefeated teams left in college basketball. Another one of those trailing Tennessee as we speak. That's going to be an over-the-back foul on Darius Days.
We've talked about LSU and how impressive they are defensively. We talked about how offensively they do a bunch of different things. Darius Days shooting the three, Efton Reed the third on the block, Pinson attacking, but they still get on the glass, Mike Morgan. They still can beat you on that offensive glass. They've always done an excellent job of that, and they continue to do it.
No whistle. Hunting a foul was K.J. Johnson on that three-point attempt. Missed everything.
Matter of fact, LSU is right under 35% offensive rebound percentage. That's good for 31st in the country. Out of 352, that's not bad.
Yeah. Well, I've always been a big rebound margin guy. How many more are you getting than your opponents? And they're at +8 on the season. You combine that, they're winning the glass, they're defending better than a long time that we've seen, and they shoot it well because they've got good offensive power. There's Pinson on a steal, and that'll be knocked out of bounds to LSU.
And it helps that your point guard, Xavier Pinson's got a 2-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio and taking care of the ball. Matter of fact, Will Wade said that he wouldn't mind seeing a little bit more offensive aggressiveness.
Yeah.
From Xavier.
That's right. He actually said he'd like to see Xavier shoot the ball a little bit more, be a little more aggressive. That's a far cry from what we used to hear at Mizzou. Different role with this LSU squad. And he's getting the job done, as you mentioned, from an assist-to-turnover ratio standpoint. Deep three, and that's, again, what Lipscomb is going to have to do to stay in this game. That's Caleb Coleman. 8-0 run by the Bisons.
And they'll make some. Like, they make 9 a game.
Whoa. Eric Gaines. That ball hit above the square before dropping down to the hoop.
It was a nice creative shot. It's high off the glass.
Kicked out of bounds. LSU ball.
So Eric Gaines, we just saw him passing out gifts to the youngsters. Nice little herky-jerky move in the lane. Soft touch. It is better to give than receive, Mike. You'll be happy to know that the mail will run all week here at my house. So if your gift is a little behind, pal, it'll get here on time. It'll get here.
You didn't send it post office, did you?
No.
Please give me a tracking number next time. That's a block foul. In the cylinder is the call, or in the restricted arc area for Lipscomb, the indication from our officiating crew. That's 5 team fouls now for each side with 9:37 to go in the first half. These two teams have never met, by the way, but there is a connection with Will Wade and Lipscomb. Inside, setting up that jump hook, and that's where being 7 feet helps. No one is going to block that shot, Pat Bradley.
Well, that cut right there, the corner, we ran the flats in high school, and that was one of our cuts. From the corner, you get the screen. Efton Reed, the third, big, catches it, goes up strong. That's what impressed me about him when I first saw him early in the season. He's a throwback guy. You can get it to him on the block. He can score either hand, and he shoots a three.
Another three by the Bisons. Top floor for the rebound is Wilkinson.
And he's a willing passer. You see him posting up right there. I like that. But because he's posting and he demands that double team, Darius Days may be open in that corner.
It's a line drive three off the front iron from Pinson.
Yeah, we kind of didn't need headphones to hear that one. Legs a little fatigued, Mike. Legs are a little fatigued.
Fatigued in the first half? Well, it is near Christmas, right?
He was passing out gifts all day. Come on, give him a break.
Bisons can't buy one. They're under 30% from the field. Pinson goes to work and turned it over. Just sloppy ball handling by Xavier Pinson.
Well,
one thing Will Wade said about Pinson. I'm sorry, Pat, go ahead.
Well, they have an advantage in each position. It looks like they're struggling to figure out which one to go to. Efton Reed III has got a big-time size advantage. Get him on the block, throw to him, play through him. You can do that. He's a good passer. Inside out three.
And check foul that time by Fudge, and that'll bring us to immediate timeout. LSU up by 9. Beautiful light display at Baton Rouge General Hospital. Oh, yeah, Frosty showing some hops on the two-hand slam. Nicely done, Snowman. Holy smokes. That's more vertical leap than we saw out of Pat Bradley in 4 years in Fayetteville. Coming up on Thursday, it's number 1 South Carolina in Missouri to take on the Tigers at 7 Eastern. The number 23 Texas A&M hosting Vandy in College Stations. Both games right here on the SEC Network. Another grand year of women's hoops in the Southeastern Conference. Congratulations to Dawn Staley and the Gamecocks knocking off number 2 Stanford yesterday, 65-61. That means the Gamecocks are now 13-0 and number 1 in the country. He's Pat Bradley, number 1 in your heart and mine. I'm Mike Morgan. Great to be with you on this Wednesday evening. The LSU Tigers trying to remain unblemished as well, hoping to improve to 12-0. It's their best start in about 21 years to go to 11-0, so they'll try to continue to climb that mark. They've got a pretty stout conference opening game against Bruce Pearl and the Auburn Tigers, who won earlier in convincing fashion right here in the first part of our doubleheader tonight on the SEC Network. Gotta love Jabari Smith, Pat Bradley. He is a special-looking player.
6'10", can shoot it, put it on the ground, finish at the rim. And he's fluid. He's a fluid athlete at 6'10". I played against his father when he played at LSU, Jabari Smith. His pops was a heck of a player. Heck of a player.
Yes, he was.
I don't
Some
think
of those LSU teams were awfully good.
Yes, yes. I think his son's a little bit better at this stage. A little bit better. Little zone. Coach Will Wade thought he was going to get a lot of zone. Lipscomb throws that zone there, and you just see the effort. It's tough, man. That's just outmatched there under the paint, but you got to take advantage of it.
That's the second effort by Alex Fudge, who rebounded his own miss, the freshman from Jacksonville, Florida. Tough shot in traffic.
That was tough. If they can make some of those and make some threes, you got a chance.
Jakovic with a beautiful shot, and then there's LSU with the response, a three from Wanya Wilkinson, a sophomore out of Las Vegas, Nevada. He's hitting 39% from behind the arc. We're talking about where LSU ranks. How about Auburn? How about Tennessee, Alabama, and Kentucky? These are the net rankings. There's so many polls now. I know it can be confusing, but when it comes to the most relevant one, this really is where it's at. This is what the NCAA Tournament Committee will spend most of its time looking at in terms of polls. And there you see 3 SEC teams in the top 10. You've got Alabama. You've got Kentucky. It is another loaded year in the Southeastern Conference. And right now, Tennessee still up on Arizona. We'll keep you posted on that score. I know Peter Burns and company will have stats and highlights of all the action today. Kentucky with another win. Murr at the free throw line. Too strong and into the hands of Efton Reed III. Murr, who missed the free throw, averaged 45 points a game his final year in high school in Athens, Alabama, Lindsay Lane Christian School.
Did you say 45 points a game?
45 a game.
Well, in the meantime, Efton Reed the third just made a fantastic post move right there. Finished with his left hand. I love getting to the big fella. Use his size.
Nakovic responds on the other end for Lipscomb, hanging around. 9-point game as we flirt with the 6-minute mark. There's a triple team on Reed. Pinson is the benefactor. Missed it. Tapped around. No. And finally tracked down by Coleman.
That's the value of having a big fella who accepts the double team, knows what to do with it. Spacing was a little off, though, with LSU on that.
Another good look for Will Pruitt. Just left it short. Pinson, step back three. Oh, goodness. Okay. Xavier Pinson showing us a little something on that move.
Yeah, that's the aggressiveness that Coach Wade was talking about. Want him to, in that situation, felt it in rhythm. Not going to be happy with that, though.
That's Tommy Murr. You don't average 45 points a night in high school without having some moves, Pat Bradley.
Well, and the other thing, too, you can't be afraid, right? I mean, I'm sure he's heard all about LSU's defense, their top defense, but you've got to take it to him. Coach Acuff talked about that, how he's going to send a message to his players early on that we're not afraid.
Offensive foul. That's the third on Efton Reed, the third.
Ooh. Little step back. Did he go backwards between the legs? That's catching it in rhythm, on balance. Do you see how when he did that, though, it was a right to left between the legs, but he gathered himself. Feet were set, balance was there, good follow through. It wasn't falling backwards.
When I think of Xavier Pinson's time at Missouri, we're going to have a jump ball. Yes, we are.
Good hands.
And the arrow goes to Lipscomb. Yep.
He is a ball hawk. Remember we used to say ball hawk back in the day?
We still do.
Bring that one back. We do?
Oh,
I haven't heard.
Yes,
we're
declaring it right now on December the 22nd. Ball hawking is a very acceptable and encouraged term the rest of the season. You heard it here first. Yeah, that was a term never used to describe Pat Bradley at Arkansas.
No.
Ball shooter,
although
not ball hawk.
We did appreciate high intense defense. That's what I love, and that's what I love about this LSU team too, is they accept that aggressive defensive style.
Pinson. Well, Will Wade told us he wants Pinson to be more aggressive. He's been awfully aggressive in this first half. Pinson now with 8 points. In transition, easy basket for Murray and a timeout by Lipscomb. Largest lead for LSU of 15 points.
Eric Gaines running that. Ooh, nice bounce pass. How about the catch and finish? LSU up 15.
You know, Peter, I've had worse roles in Hollywood, but that was a dark period of time. I was young. I needed the work. We don't need to go any deeper than that. As you look at the game summary thus far, Darius Days, 6 points, 4 rebounds, 3-point field goals. LSU bombs away, and right now LSU doing everything well.
Yeah, everything's clicking for him. Darius Days started it out. We felt like he was going to shoot the ball well. Right there, taking advantage of their athleticism, their length, and defensively. But I love Efton Reed the third. Get the big fella on the block. 7-foot freshman, likes to play with his back to the basket. Again, defense creates some offense for LSU. You see how they're so versatile. They can score multiple ways. They play multiple defenses. That's the reason why they're so high in the net rankings. And undefeated.
Meanwhile, the threes keep hitting too much iron for Lipscomb. Now 2 of 12 from behind the arc. Days looking for his third triple. He's got it. Will Wade thought it'd be a big night for Darius Days, and so far it has been. That's his third three. He's got 9 points, 4 rebounds.
It didn't seem like a lot, but Alex Fudge with that quick extra pass made all the difference.
Another steal and a highlight. Alex Fudge drops the hammer in transition. "20-point lead for LSU. And another turnover on the Bisons.
My man Alex Fudge just got done setting up Darius Days there. Good hands in the passing lane. Able to finish above the rim. Confident freshman. Looks like he's been there for a while. This guy's a long and thin. Cut through the air. They're not carrying him around a lot of weight. And get up quick and stay up.
Yeah, they're pretty low on the body fat. They can have some extra eggnog during the holidays, unlike us. And killing the offensive glass right now. Just an avalanche on the offensive glass for LSU thus far. Think about what LSU lost last year. I mean, Javonte Smart, Cameron Thomas, Trendon Watford, these are all pros that had high productive careers, and yet we're looking at, for right now, one of the best teams in the country.
What makes them one of the best teams in the country is because they understand their strengths and their weaknesses. Take a guy like Alex Fudge right there, okay? He understands he's got an advantage, size, length. Let me get on the glass. He understands. Get a good shot in the corner, or I can pass it up to Darius Days for a great shot on the wing. I'm impressed with these freshmen understanding so early on how to play the game. The strengths and weaknesses. It's fun to watch. It's refreshing to watch at.
But it sounds like, just talking with Coach Wade today for the first time this season, this is a fun group to coach. He's had plenty of talented teams, but you know, some groups are more challenging than others, and this group right here, of course, with some returning players from a year ago, combined with the newcomers, combined with the transfer in Eason, it just seems to have a good makeup that Will Wade feels awfully good about.
It's not easy to get freshmen, transfers, all on the same page. And a lot of coaches are dealing with that now with the transfer portal. And you have returning players like Darius Days who are accepting bigger roles. Xavier Pinson comes in from a different program, and the freshman. Tari Eason from a different program, and they're working well together.
Meanwhile, LSU in the midst of an 11-0 run, up by 21 with 1:56 to go here in this first half. I mentioned there is a tie-in with Lipscomb and Will Wade. Will Wade grew up in Nashville, Tennessee, went to Franklin Road Academy. That is just a couple of miles from the campus of Lipscomb, and he used to go to basketball camps at Lipscomb, has fond memories of Lipscomb. So even though these two teams have never met, it is kind of a special meeting of sorts for that man, Will Wade.
He told us did he get the Hustle Award at the Lipscomb basketball camp? Was that what it was?
That's what guys like me always strived for. I was looking for the Hustle Trophy. I don't know what Will Wade got.
Will Wade probably get the Analytics Trophy or something like that, right?
I would rack up a lot of Most Improved awards, which means you had to be pretty bad to start. Nice follow by Wilkinson.
I'd imagine you were right up there in sportsmanship, teammate.
Yes, absolutely. I was a coach's dream.
I had a kid who I made him an assistant coach. Said, "You don't have to play. Just be my assistant coach.
Just be my guy." Absolutely.
Another extra pass.
Morale booster. Oh, there it is. He promised us 4 threes for Darius Days. He's got 4 in the first half. So if you took the over, you're sitting pretty.
But how about if you're Lipscomb You got Alex Fudge out there at the top of that 1-3-1. How are you going to pass it around him? And you got quick as a cat Eric Gaines getting to that next pass. Wilkinson, length. Whew.
I mean, they're stealing passes, they're taking charges, they're blocking shots, doing it all
Give
right
up
now.
the body. He kind of looked like, he was like, I'm not so sure if I want to stick my chin in here, coach. But he took one for the team. Way to go, young fella.
Under a minute remaining in the first half. It's been all LSU so far, trying to improve to 12-0 on the season. Nifty move by Gaines. Can't finish, though.
That was all of the Euro step right there.
Yes, it was. He milked it. Open three. That's the kind of shot Lipscomb wants, but unfortunately they haven't been able to hit many. Now 2 of 14.
And you mentioned it, Mike. For them to come in to the PMAC and keep it close, they're going to have to make tough shots, tough, deep threes.
This is a great time of year, right? We've got the confluence of college basketball and college football's postseason head-to-head. The SEC Network has Alabama and Georgia covered on New Year's Eve. Our coverage starts at 9 a.m. Eastern and then wraps up after the Orange Bowl with the SEC football final to break down both games, have reactions from coaches and players. Nobody covers the SEC like we do. He's the shooter, Pat Bradley. I'm Mike Morgan. Thank you for spending some time with us this Wednesday evening. LSU, they've got a bowl game to get ready for, and of course a new coaching era to get ready for. Coach Kelly coming from Notre Dame. We'll wait down
Boston's finest. Ryan
That's
Kelly,
right.
Everett, Massachusetts.
Right. It all goes back to Boston, doesn't it?
It
really
all
does.
roads lead back to Beantown.
Will Wade in his 5th season with LSU and trying to make it to yet another NCAA tournament and then beyond as well. LSU ending the half right now on a 21-6 run and looking for a couple more, maybe 3 more here. Final 7 seconds tick away. Gaines measuring. Finds Murray, wheeling, fading, firing, and missed it short. That is how the half will come to an end. But LSU doubling up the Bisons of Lipscomb. 48-24. LSU winning 88 straight when leading by 20 or more at the half. A festive game, a festive halftime show coming up with Peter Burns and company. Stay tuned.
Yo, yo.
A little basketball snowman to get you in the mood. LSU in the mood for another victory to stay undefeated on the season, doubling up the Bisons of Lipscomb. 48-24. This was what went on at halftime. That is the incomparable Dan Bournet, who was reading Cajun Night Before Christmas before all the youngsters out there. I haven't seen that kind of captive audience since Pat Bradley was reading.
He can hold a crowd.
Children's stories back in the day. There's no question. Mr. Bourdain, Mr. Bradley, 2 guys that can captivate the children like no other. Pat, as we look at that first half, LSU was captivating in so many ways. We talked about at the top that this is not the past few years' LSU defense, right? Yeah, they can still score 80-something points a night, but they look like they can defend as well as any team in the SEC right now.
Well, they are forcing 20 turnovers a game right now. Lipscomb's at 10. Lipscomb shoots 37% from the three-point line. They're sitting at 14% right now. So you see the effect of LSU. And today, their offense has been rolling as well. Xavier Pinson with the nice penetration kick out to Darius Days, who is feeling it. How about Efton Reed, the third, the 7-footer from deep? Darius Days just one of his 4 there, but it's the extra pass that has gotten LSU 48 points tonight. Very unselfish. It's impressive that they turned down a good shot for a great shot. They've been doing it all night.
You know, I'm wearing the Happy Festivus sweater tonight, Pat Bradley, as Darius Days picks up where he left off in the first half. He's now got a game-high 14. And on Festivus, you air your grievances. I think LSU is taking out their grievances on Lipscomb tonight. I mean, they are playing a near-perfect game thus far.
I got a lot of problem with you people, and that's one of them. Stay in front of the basketball, Mike. If there's one basketball grievance I have, it's the name of the game has not changed. It always has been and always will be. Put the ball in the hole, and that is high percentage shots, okay? Everybody wants to talk about the three-point shot, but you've got to eliminate shots at the rim is number one, not like LSU just did there.
Well, Darius Days did use that three-point shot to his advantage. He hit 4 of them. LSU 50% from downtown. Fast break points, I'm at 13-0. Pretty much everything Lipscomb did not want to see in terms of the way this game would unfold happened in the first half. We'll see if the Bisons can turn it around in the second.
Just to give you a little bit of context there. Good hustle. That's 50-50 basketball right there. That's how you win SEC games.
Pinson started it off with the steal. Pinson gets rewarded on the other end with the easy deuce. Xavier Pinson looks like a new player. I was saying in the first half, at Missouri, he flashed a lot, right? I mean, he would have games and moments where you'd say, wow. And then it was just, it kind of disappeared for a little bit. He kind of felt like at times he... Oh, Darius Days, 5 threes. What is it that Will Wade saw in Darius Days where he knew this was going to be a big game tonight?
He does see him every day in practice. He knows him as well as anyone. And I'm sure he felt that possibly he's gotten a lot of extra pass threes. Felt Lipscomb's defense would maybe sag off at Darius Days. Maybe told him, let's get a little more aggressive from that three-point line.
Now, he tested.
It was just one of those nights.
Maybe one of those nights.
Every once in a while.
Watch Darius Days on another three. He's now 6 of 9, 5 of 7. Coach Will Wade told us, he said, I thought he was gone. And he tested the NBA waters, and he went to the G League invite camp. Things didn't go exactly the way that Darius Days had hoped for. And so Will Wade got on a plane, flew to Florida to meet with him and said, hey, look, you know, you're welcome back for another year. And he's certainly welcome back if he keeps playing like this. Darius Days, 19 points, 7 of 10 from the field.
And he's shown his versatility. Last year, we had a lot of fun with Darius Days. He was the basketball superhero, the glue man. Because he got offensive rebounds, defensive rebounds. He dove on the floor 50-50 balls. He could defend, and when called upon, he could make shots. This year he's accepted a different role. He came into the season as the top offensive guy, and he's delivered.
Efton Reed, the third, just picked up his 4th foul, so that'll likely spell a lot of pine time for the talented 7-foot freshman out of Richmond, Virginia, a 5-star recruit. You know, to go back to Darius Days, think about this. He's got over 1,000 career points, and you say, well, I mean, there's 1,000-point scorers all over college basketball. But he's got them all at one school, Pat Bradley. He's got them all at LSU. The way things are in today's day and age, where everybody hits that portal, it's not just the portal, as Coach Acuff was pointing out to us, it's the fact that they don't have to sit out a year anymore. So that makes it so easy to do. So you got a lot of kids who score 500 at one school, 600 at another school, some kids divided up into 3 schools. It's nice to see a young man who's got 1,000 points all for one program.
Yeah, and we've seen him grow up. I can remember when he came in with that great class, Javante Smart. That was a real good patience. But that you talk about transfers, and talking to Lenny Acuff, Coach Acuff, Lipscomb, when he was at Alabama Huntsville D2 school, he would redshirt his freshmen. And that helps because they're older, right? Now basically you've got an older group of guys. And that is the advantage of the previous rule where a transfer had to sit out. Now this guy is going to be a year older when you get him because he's going to be in your program for a year, not playing games, but he'll be a year older. You're not getting that. You're not getting that 1 year where the guy can transition to what you want.
Pinson.
He's feeling it too.
Flips it up there from about 25 feet out. Xavier Pinson, he's got 15. And so far it's been the Days and Pinson show. Two of the players we highlighted at the top. Every now and then actually works out for us.
I've said the Pete Maravich Center is one of the great shooting arenas.
Why is that? You've been telling me that for 7 years. Why is that?
The lighting is great. The rim, everything matters. The background, it's just a great place to shoot.
Well, I'll tell you who agrees with you. Xavier Pinson.
Ooh, one step, no help, under control, great balance, and the slow walk it off. Xavier Pinson sending a message. A Christmas.
The SEC Network Basketball is brought to you by T-Mobile, the leader in 5G. Mike Morgan, Pat Bradley, great to be with you. The PMAC, Pete Maravich Assembly Senator in Baton Rouge on a beautiful night. They're expecting a warm Christmas over there near the Bayou. Speaking of warm, these guys were downright hot for much of their career. Yeah, they were fun to cover. Cam Thomas, the freshman sensation, one of the best shooters in college basketball. And Javonte Smart was there for a few years. So was Watford. And, of course, all three now playing in the pros. And usually when you lose that kind of productivity, you're going to take a step back. But the mark of a really good program is when you can lose all that and still have the kind of season that LSU is enjoying so far, Pat.
I did not anticipate that the pieces Will Wade brought in would be able to fit so quickly. What we found is when you do take on transfers, when you do take on freshmen, and you have the returning players, how are you going to mix those three groups together? And coaches throughout college basketball are trying to figure this out. Will Wade and his staff has done it better than anybody in the country this season. And to also, you told the story of Darius Days. He met with his family, laid out the plan. Here's how we're going to get you to where you want to go. And then, Xavier Pinson had a big role in the previous school. So all these things coming together, it's a beautiful thing to see.
And keep in mind, they're doing all this without Tari Eason, their leading scorer this year, who tweaked something in pregame. We never got official word on what that was or is, but didn't sound overly serious. And he did not play tonight and will not play tonight. That's going to be offensive on Brandon Murray. Will Wade saying, why? A little too cute.
Yeah. Young fella. In these freshmen, Will Wade is not happy.
I think he's mad at the call. Let's see if we can get another look at it.
No, I don't like that. They call a charge on that?
They called offensive. Clearly the feet were moving. Inside. Bucket. Tell you what, Lipscomb has realized if the threes aren't working, let's try to get some easy twos. Speaking of easy twos, it's not easy for most people, but for Brandon Murray, the high riser out of Baltimore, it's quite simple.
That was about as precise of a pass as you're going to get. Who's that? Eric Gaines once again. We saw him dishing out gifts to the youngsters in the community. He dishes that one out to Brandon Murray. Beautiful, right over the rim. On time, on target, like who? Tom Brady.
Except for that last game against New Orleans. We'll just wipe that from the memory.
I don't remember what you're talking about. We're on. We're on to Cleveland. Whoever they play next.
He wasn't dropping too many dimes in that shutout loss, but we still love TB12.
Hey, he can't throw. He can't throw it and catch it, Mike. Come on now. Even
That's
Giselle
true.
told you that.
Yeah, you're sounding like Mrs. Brady now. Only you could cook like Mrs. Brady.
I can run
Woman of many talents.
Walk the runway, too.
Yes. Well, nobody needs to see that. Gaines, that might have been an extra step. Yes, it was. Turnover.
He's had some pretty creative moves in the lane. We've seen a couple of Euro steps and almost like circus shots when he gets in there. Didn't get away with that one.
Now, he's not in the starting lineup, but he figures to play many more minutes this year off the bench. It's kind of a crowded backcourt last year when Gaines was a freshman. Step back three. And out of bounds off the front iron. LSU basketball.
Gaines is another one of those guys who understands his strengths, and he's going to play to it. He's going to be that ball hawk, chest to chest, baseline to baseline, 94 feet. I'm going to get under you, make life uncomfortable for you. That's really what I see out of LSU this year is these guys quickly have understood how they can get minutes. And they're not trying to do things that they can't do.
Dribbling right into a double team. Gaines on the turnover, and then he gets it right back, poking it away. Now Gaines leading the pack, and he'll thunder one home. Now, if you're going to turn it over, you might as well get a steal and a slam to make amends.
And not a good foul right there, Mr. Eric Gaines, and he knows it.
Well, Pat Bradley, and then there were 5 as Tennessee of the SEC knocks off Arizona. So we are left with 5 unbeatens left in Division I college basketball. Baylor, Southern Cal, Iowa State, Colorado State, and your Bayou Bengals, who are enjoying a large lead tonight and look to be well on their way to a 12-0 start.
Like to see
Tennessee and Rick Barnes?
77, yeah. You know they're going to defend you at a high level.
They were an enigma last year offensively, right? I mean, we just couldn't figure them out last year. But for whatever reason, it didn't click. But this year, it's clicking.
Yeah. Well, their 2 best scorers were the freshmen they had Jaden Springer and Keon Johnson, and it took them into the SEC season to figure things out. And by that time, it was sort of a little too late.
Yeah,
Both those guys are gone. Now they got Kennedy Chandler, who's fantastic.
Oh, he's going to be a lot of fun to watch this year for fans tuning in tonight and haven't seen Mr. Chandler in Knoxville. He will put on a show or 2 this season. Nice take that time on the double pump by Eric Gaines.
For LSU fans, defense travels, and getting on the glass travels. I mentioned they're #1 defensive rebounding team in the SEC. Those types of things are going to be important when you go on the road. Taking care of the basketball, right? You hear me talk about my road recipe. Take care of the basketball, defensive rebound, and get high percentage shots. And, yeah, those things are connected in a way. But if you can sell that to your team, they buy in, you get a couple of W's on the road in this league. It's tough this year.
By the way, in that Tennessee win over Arizona, Fulkerson, 24 points and 10 rebounds.
Folk smash!
They need to have him have a bounce-back year. He was so good 2 years ago. Last year, not quite as much. And this year, perhaps poised to have a career year.
He's a guy that they needed to be aggressive on the offensive end. Tonight he showed it. Eric Gaines getting aggressive here. I like it. Forcing the issue. Playing downhill.
Feels like Eric Gaines has pretty much been involved in every play in this second half. It's like there's 5 of them out there.
And he does a great job. He accepts that role. And he's one of the quickest guys out there. He wants to get out and defend. I know it sounds crazy. I played with a guy, Kareem Reed, who liked to get out and defend and cause problems. And again, look at this 1-3-1 by LSU. The length, the quickness.
There's the spot. That's how you beat it. That's exactly what you got to do. It's Trey Benham, his first basket of the night.
Pump fake sidestep.
Beautiful take. Gliding to the rim is Alex Fudge. He looks like he's going to be awfully good in time. 6'8" freshman from Jacksonville.
I would like to see that great balance on the pump fake.
Pinson tried to go around the back. That did not work out so well, but Alex Fudge did.
Watch the pump fake. Young fella stays low so he can explode to the rim and finishes above the rim. LSU up 30.
Can't wait for it. December the 31st. What are we, 9 days away from the college football playoff semis? Alabama and Cincinnati, Georgia and Michigan. Could we be looking at an all-SEC final? It's happened before. Might happen again. We shall see. It's been a good night for the SEC so far. Just told you about the news of Tennessee winning their game. LSU a big over Lipscomb. You had Kentucky with a win over Western Kentucky. I'll tell you an interesting stat line in that game, but how about the interesting stat line on one Darius Days, Pat Bradley, 19 points. He's done it in all kinds of ways.
The senior from Raleigh, Florida, 6'7" forward. We know that he can pass, defend, rebound. What he's been called upon this year to do is score. He shot the three-point shot better than he ever has, and you see him there in the paint. He's big enough. He's strong enough. And he's crafty enough to be able to finish around the rim, too.
You know, having spent a lot of time in the state of Florida and priding myself in Florida geography, I must admit I had to look up where Raleigh, Florida is. It's kind of in the northern central part of the state. Population 357, according to the latest census.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So a big shout out. I hope. Does that include Darius Days? So is there 356 watching right now from Raleigh, Florida?
That's a good question. That might be a technicality. It might waver between 356, 357, depending on Mr. Days' whereabouts.
Christmas break or not. By the way, LSU's going to have off until the 26th, I believe. So all the mamas and grandmamas out there, you got a couple days to feed your boys. Feed them good. Because Will Wade's going to run it off when they get back.
That's right.
Man, I used
they'll
to
need
eat
to
so
run it
much
off when they play Auburn in the SEC opener. That'll burn some calories.
That is going to be
another win
giant matchup.
Nice pass inside. Second effort, no. And coming in for the rebound is Reed the third. He's playing with 4 fouls. 10 minutes remaining, all LSU at the PMAC. Pinson, oh, that's pretty. That's the flashes I was referring to earlier. He would show you some of that at Mizzou. It was just sporadic. Maybe it'll be more consistent in Baton Rouge.
He
season high 17.
More comfortable. And that comes with age. Obviously, we talked about how important it is. Coaches always talk about, we want to get old and we want to stay old. There's a lot of freshman talent out there. However, they're still freshmen, and they're going to make freshman mistakes. So Xavier Pinson has the, Will Wade have the luxury of having a well-seasoned point guard.
Reed. Not that time. But an offensive rebound kicks out to LSU's Wilkinson. A little too loose on the handle was Gaines.
What I love, Pinson's, he's quick, but look, the hesitation, everything's about change of speed, change of direction. Now, he is blessed to be quick as a cat, but he understands change of speed. See the hesitation there. Defender comes up, he explodes into his next move.
He's right at his season average of 5 assists a game, which is good for 5th best in the SEC, and that's really what they need him to do. Nifty move in the paint that time by K.J. Johnson. They don't need Pinson to light it up with all the weapons that LSU has. They need him to make the right plays, and more often than not this year, that's what he's done. He's made the right decision and the right plays.
Where I think he's going to be valuable.
Harry Gaines with some extra hang time on that alley-oop.
A bit of the English, too. An old pool player going back in the day.
Is that Minnesota Fats?
I remember those days. I had my own pool cue.
You were quite the hustler back in the day.
Yeah, no one wanted to mess with me in a game of 9-ball, I'll tell you that much. Great catch. A little bit of English by Eric Gaines. Great body control. LSU up big.
All right, back with you from the PMAC in Baton Rouge. It's LSU all over Lipscomb. This is as brutal a gauntlet to start conference play, Pat Bradley, as I have ever seen. And I mean ever. At Auburn, Kentucky, Tennessee, at Florida, Arkansas, Bama, Tennessee. Everybody's ranked on there except for Florida, who not that long ago was in the top 15. And Mike White's got a good team, I can assure you. I mean, that's crazy. Like, the league is loaded. We know that. But there are some teams in the lower third that would help break that up a little bit. LSU is going to be tested really, really early.
Well, that's got to be that is the toughest full week stretch. Was that full weeks or those anyone in the country? I mean, listen, the Boston Celtics do not have a more difficult schedule in the next 3 weeks.
Can we flash that up again?
Than LSU.
Yeah. And I think that's part of the reason why you might have caught Will Wade rather animated on the sideline. This game might be somewhat in the books, although Johnson hitting threes will help keep it entertaining. But he knows that LSU is going to have to play at an optimal level to get through that stretch with a winning record, let's just say. Brandon Murray knocks down a three. LSU has been smoking from downtown all night long, now 11 of 21. Steele, another one from the nation's #2 steal team in America. Gaines tried to flip it in there with the follow. It was Milwaukee Wilkinson. We're seeing everything that LSU has done well all year long. Defend, rebound. Oh, yeah, block shots. That one just put a dent in the backboard as Wilkinson pinned it against the glass.
And you never know when your team is going to Christmas break. A lot of them tonight after the game, they head out. Are you going to get guys that are focused? And so you got 6.5 minutes left. That's why Will Wade's like, fellas, let's just give me the 6.5 minutes. Let's play, not make bad mistakes, not like that. That was a good action. Got to go up, finish stronger, though. Mr. Reed, the third. However, you want to finish strong for a variety of reasons.
Pretty impressive performance tonight by a number of players for LSU, but none bigger than Darius Days. 19 points on an economical 7 of 11 from the field, 5 of 8 from 3. Days also with 6 rebounds on the night. Brennan Murray's got 13. Talented freshman for the Tigers, who are playing shorthanded without Tari Eason. They really only play 8 guys to begin with. So this was a 7-man show tonight in this game. Good hustle, LSU fighting, scrum. Lipscomb has the arrow.
In what I was talking about, those reasons, Mike, variety of reasons, is because your mentality of your team right now is where you want it to be. Those 50-50, get on the floor, loose balls, extra pass. Those types of things you want to keep your team focused on. You don't want the other things to creep in. A guy trying to do too much because we're up by 30. Going into spring break, you want to keep that same aggressive mentality, team chemistry.
Well, bad habits are hard to break, right? You don't want to develop them when you're down 30 or up 30. Keep playing the game the right way.
Right.
Another turnover on Lipscomb, and there to clean it up. Darius Days now with 21 points to lead all scorers. What a luxury to get him back for his senior year. I mean, that is the glue that really links last year's talented team to this year's talented team.
And he's a complete player. So you're getting a guy who knows how to play winning basketball in a complementary role. Defense, rebound, second chance opportunities. And you let him know, hey, coming back this year, you're going to be our #1 guy. And we're going to get you in position to have opportunities like those guys did last year. But I don't want you to forget what got you the kind of player you are, doing those other things.
Now, and he's been a part of some really good LSU teams. I think people would be surprised to realize the program that has the most conference wins over the last 3 years. It's not Kentucky. It's not Tennessee. It's not Auburn. It's LSU. Of course, Darius Days has been a part of those teams.
Remember the days of
39
Tremont
conference
Waters?
wins the last 3 years.
Trey Waters had some really, really fun athletic teams. A lot of good players came through the program last few years.
Nice take. Gliding in, Quincy Clark. Under 5 minutes to play. LSU trying to put an exclamation point on the end of non-conference play. We got a walk-on alert. And one. Elton Reed III, Efton Reed III, still playing strong here in the final minutes. This is what I was talking about. You could win a bar bet or a water cooler bet, depending on your choice of entertainment. Most SEC wins the last 3 years. LSU, Kentucky, Tennessee, Alabama, and Auburn. And, of course, all 5 of those programs ranked in the top 25, looking at another good year in 21-22. But how about LSU? How about the consistency? They finished in the top 4 all 3 years. So all 3 years they've enjoyed a bye in the SEC tournament and trying to keep that streak alive. Did that sneak up on you at all, Mr. Bradley, the omniscient one?
Well, I would like to say that it didn't. I'm not surprised, and I'll tell you why after this alley-oop.
Alex Fudge on the two-hand flush. Now it's just fun time for LSU and the hometown faithful.
Will Wade has proven that he can win games multiple ways. Defensive guys, offensive guys, switching defenses, motion offenses, and he's the tactician offensively. So with the changing rosters, yes, I believe that Coach Wade and his staff understand how to be successful with different rosters.
And that defense continues to be tenacious. 6th time this year, LSU has forced 20 or more turnovers. Lipscomb has coughed it up 21 times tonight. Last time LSU started the season 11-0 was 2000. The bank is open on Wednesday night. Efton Reed III will gladly take 3 on that one. A 40-point cushion for the Tigers, and a block shot by Alex Fudge. Not sure what that was. Here's another steal. Another breakaway and some more fun for LSU. Eric Gaines showing off some hops. I think Lipscomb right now is just exhausted.
Eric Gaines stays in the passing lanes. Parker Edwards, great kick up to the alley-oop. Mr. Alex Fudge above the rim again.
All LSU tonight. There's been plenty of celebration moments. We picked this one, brought to you by Allstate. Mr. Bradley.
Well, that was a precise pass. Getting it on time, on target, in transition.
Everything has gone right for LSU in this game. Let's face it, 55% from 3, 55% from the field, forcing 21 turnovers. All the things that have been in the recipe for LSU throughout this undefeated run, about to be 12-0. So we showed everybody that schedule, Pat. The one thing LSU has not done under Will Wade is had a deep run in the NCAA tournament. A lot of that had to do with the fact that they didn't defend very well in the postseason. So when you look at this year's team, under the microscope, in the lab, is this the team that makes a deeper run?
Well, you know, right now, Ken Palm has them ranked number 1 defensively. You can look at all the numbers, but when you watch this team, why I like and love them defensively is because, outside of that right there, they're forcing you into taking difficult shots. They defend the three-point line, 25% for the opponent, 40% from the two-point range. So that stuff travels. And I know they're not going to shoot the 3 like they have tonight. That's going to be difficult to be 12 or 22 on a nightly basis, but they've shown they can. They've got inside scoring. After Reed III, we've seen Alex Fudge play around the rim. So they can score in a multiple ways. Xavier Pinson can get to the lane, get to the rim. It's really well-balanced offensively, and you know they're going to lock you up defensively.
Got a couple walk-ons sprinkled in with the regulars for LSU. Again, they're playing a little short-handed tonight without Tari Eason. They only have an 8-man rotation, even with a full complement of players.
I'll give you a great success story. Number 30, Parker Edwards for LSU.
Yeah. I'll give it
Played
to him.
against LSU when he was at UT Martin. In 11 minutes, the man made 6 3-point shots. Next thing you know, he's a walk-on for LSU. Will Wade's like, we need this guy. We've got to have this guy. Get this guy.
That is next-level stuff. Nobody breaks down the walk-ons like one Pat Bradley. Nobody.
Well,
straight on 3 by Benham.
I know the value of the walk-ons. I played with some great ones. Some who went on to earn a scholarship and a starting position. Guy Whitney, one of them. And there's a lot of great work the walk-ons do that go unnoticed.
Well, great thing is you and I, in a normal situation, when we're there on site, we go to practice and we watch those walk-ons work every bit as hard as the guys logging 30 minutes a night. So they have to go through the off-season conditioning program. They have to go through every practice, every bit of the hard work that you see the other guys get. It's nice to see them get a little fruits for their labor in games like this.
Well, and the thing is, Mike, they can't get away with anything, right? They can't complain. They can't be late. Superstars like us, man, you know, we come a couple minutes late here and there, and we're okay.
Now, everybody wants to see Brandon Egemo launch a 3 here. I don't know if
this is his job. He's got to shoot it.
And it's actually going to be a shot clock violation.
Oh, he ate that turnover, huh?
That'll add a turnover to the stat sheet. Media timeout with 1.8 seconds to go. We'll be back. Triple header for you here on the SEC Network. We got Florida Ole Miss. Good game. We got Missouri, Kentucky. By the way, Shebue, 28 rebounds today. The first by a Division I player in several years. 28 rebounds. It's ridiculous. And then Sonny, John Sunvold and I will be with you for Arkansas and Mississippi State. That's going to be a lot of fun. Your Razorbacks, Pat Bradley, going to get a battle in Starkville with a much improved Mississippi State squad. But just for clarification, there was an extra media timeout. So if they take a shot, if LSU does, this doesn't happen. But since they let the shot clock expire, we get a turnover. Thus a commercial break with less than 2 seconds in a 35-point game. Shooter, quick thoughts.
Great bounce, offensive end, 6 LSU Tigers in double figures, and from a defensive standpoint, held Lipscomb under 40%, 30% from the three-point line. So it was classic LSU win, starts on defense, trickles into the offense.
A lot of fun to watch this team tonight. It'll be a lot of fun to watch LSU all year long. For Pat Bradley, Mike Morgan saying so long for now. Peter Burns, Andrea Carter, take it away at SCC Now.